Our first warm-up, we are going to be starting with jump twists. This is a really great warm-up to increase your heart rate and get your nervous system ready and increase your body temperature. We are going to move our feet 180 degrees, twisting at the hips, keeping the shoulders level, and moving our arms opposite with the direction our feet is going in. We'll do that for 30 seconds. Our next warm-up is shoulder rolls, trying to open the chest muscles and wake everything up and pull those neck muscles down. And at 15 seconds, we'll switch to shoulder front rolls. Our next warm-up is arm circles. We are going to start with small arm circles at a fairly fast rate. Try and keep everything still except for your arms. At 15 seconds, we are going to be switching to bigger arm circles. You can also go slower if you would like, whatever your speed is at. For our next warm-up, we're going to do a backwards lunge. Make sure your spine is aligned and your core is stable. And you're just going to go down to 90 degrees and then reach forward, hinging at the hips. Bring your leg back in and stand up. So lunge backwards, 90 degrees, bend forward, feet in, stand up. Keeping your spine straight the entire time and just hinging at the hips like this. So for our next warm-up, we are going to reach all the way up to the sky, arms straight, get your feet a little wider than shoulder width apart, and flex your knees all the way in the full range until you're at the bottom, and with your arms up to the sky as far back as you can go, put them down to the ground and extend your knees till you're in a toe touch position. Back up. So down all the way, slow and controlled, keeping your hands up, feet flat if you can. If you can't, you can go on the balls of your feet, touch the ground, push with your arms back up, and reach back up. We're going to do those for about a minute. Our next warm-up is doing high knees for 30 seconds, as high as your knees can go and as fast as you can. For our first workout is an RDL. You're going to be starting standing up, having the bar just below your hips, hinging at your hips, keeping your legs as straight as you can with a slight bend, and going as far as your range of motion will allow you, keeping your spine straight, your shoulders level, and keeping the breathing pattern the same. Our tempo is 4-2-0-1. Keeping that core intact. Our next workout is an incline push-up, starting in almost a long arm plank, keeping your body straight and keeping your elbows at 45 degrees, trying to touch your nose down to the surface. You can do this on a wall if you'd like. The tempo is 2-1-2-1. Keeping that core tight. Our next workout is a box squat. You're going to be starting standing up and just think of it like you're sitting on a chair. Flex your hips and your knees, keeping your spine straight and your core tight. Tempo is 2-1-2-1. Keep your knees aligned over your toes. Here's a lateral view. Just touch the stop and stand back up. You can keep your hands out for balance or wherever you feel comfortable. That's the modified version. You can sit down and stand back up if that's what you feel comfortable with. Our next workout, you can grab a towel. I grabbed a scarf. Start with your arms straight out, standing up, spine neutral, core tight. Bring that scarf to you and push it straight up. think about it like you're going in a 90 degrees angle. This will help with shoulder mobility and getting the range of motion back in. It helps slide your scapulas, and tempo is 2-1-2-1. Exercise, you're going to be alternating what hand you put out and what leg you put out. Your starting position is your hips directly over your knees and your shoulders directly over your hands. Spine should be straight. Get your half of the range of motion for your shoulders and hip extension, keeping your core in the same position with your hips underneath your knees and your shoulders underneath your wrists. You're going to put your hip up, shift your weight forward, and do a hip circle, and then you get into hip extension. Hip forward, hip extension. Keeping your spine straight. We're trying to get the full range of motion of the hip. Keep your breathing steady. For this exercise, you're going to be starting on your back with your knees bent and just lifting your hips up and squeezing your butt at the top. Try to think of it like a straight knees from your knees to your shoulders. You can hold at the top if you feel comfortable. You can move your feet in too. Starting our cool down, we are going to do some neck rolls. Really feel every back muscle. And we're going to switch sides, go the other way. Just try to relax your breathing and your heart rate. And then we're going to pull our neck to the side, really feeling those postural muscles and getting that good stretch in. Next, we're going to do some side bends, just all the way over and hold for 3 seconds and stand back up. Other side, keeping your feet slightly wider than hips apart. You can use your hand to stabilize you to rest it on your leg. Our next cool down is pick the daisies. You're just going to walk, keeping your foot dorsiflexed, keeping your hamstring straight, your leg straight, and just sweeping your hands across the ground. And hinging at the hips, keeping your spine straight. Our next cool down is to help our hip flexors. You're going to kneel on one knee and have the other leg at 90 degrees and just shift your hips forward and switch and just push forward until you feel the stretch. You can put your head back to feel an extra stretch. Next cool down is some knee holds. You're going to start down by laying down and bringing your knee to your chest and pulling it as close as you can to your chest, feeling the stretch in the posterior chain. Keeping your spine straight and trying to control your breathing. Our next cool down is the child's pose. You're going to start on your hands and knees. You can have your knees a little wider than hips apart and just sit back on your ankles. Take some deep breaths. Really try to push your fingertips as far as you can get them. Our next cool down is the cat and cow. Bring your back as high as you can go, starting on your hands and knees, and then think about if there's a string around your stomach pulling you down and then pulling you up. Just getting the range of motion throughout the hips and the shoulders. Keeping your breathing steady and a slow movement.